straight glory. The vibe slide over me. This beat is a chemical. Beat is a chemical. When I leave, don't save my seat. I'll be back when it's all complete. A moment is medical. Moment is medical. Living on straight glory.
Hey guys, Zecdamore here, and welcome back to another command block tutorial. As you can see behind me, I am next to some mazes, or mazes, multiple maze. We have, as you can see on the left hand side here, 3 mazes, I don't know, how do you say multiple of mazes? Maze would be 1. Is it the same as like sheep? You know, you got 1 sheep, or you have 10 sheep. It's not sheeps, right? Do you reckon it's the same? Do you reckon it's the same with maze? I reckon it is. Leave it down in the comments below if you think it's maze, or mazes, or maze. Let me know. As you can see, I'm going to say 3 maze. We've got 3 maze. This sounds wrong. I don't know. There's 3 of them, regardless. We are in the above and beyond realm, and as you can see, we got Mr. H with us, and we also have Robbie with us. He's joined us in the realm today. Now, this is Mr. H's realm. This isn't my realm. It isn't one of my Ironclad realms. But me and Mr. H used to play together on my Ironclad realm, as with Robbie as well. So, you know, they helped build a lot in my realm, and now I'm repaying the favour and helping with the command blocks and stuff and such with things and stuff that they may need. Right, without further ado, because I'm rambling on here just a little bit, let's have a quick look at what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, so as you can see, there's a few things going on. There's an events tower, there's death run around here, there's a boat race over there, speed climb, so that's what that is, and then I think this is like a build-off battle game. It's like a build-off competition. Okay, but we're going to be working on the mazes. These mazes. So no matter which way I say it, I really don't know. Please, someone let me know. Okay. I do believe we will need to fix some of the signages as of late, because it's not completely finished. This is all just, you know, slapped together to make sure it all works and everything else, and yada yada yada. So, this is level 1. Level 1 maze. Once you press the button, you can only have 1 loud person at a time. Once you press the button, it will take you inside the maze. Now, I'm going to quickly try and run through this maze as best as I can. Now, whilst I'm doing this, you won't know it, you won't see it, but there is actually a timer going off in the background, okay, using some of the command blocks that I've implemented into doing this maze. Oh man, this maze is hard. My last score was... why do I feel like I've been that way? My last score was like 11 minutes and 21 seconds. Yeah, it's real difficult. So I may speed through this and see you on the other side. Okay, guys. So I finally found it, and yeah, let's press this button and get out of it. Okay, so now upon pressing that button, that stops the timer, and as you can see, there's a timer button, and it says press to view your runtime and to reset it. So if I quickly do that, and if you look on the right hand side where the above and beyond bank is, you'll see that it'll change. And as you can see there, it says 52 seconds, 90 milliseconds, and 4 minutes. So that particular run took me just under 5 minutes to complete. Now, I didn't do it entirely legitimately, just to warn you there. I did cheat to get to the end, so that is not a legitimate runtime. I am not going to update this. That is still a time to beat. But nonetheless, you saw there that you had a extra setting that allowed you to see the time it took you to do that speed run in this maze, because this time only runs for an hour, okay, and then it resets entirely back to 0. It continues counting until you finish, but maybe I'll take that into consideration. But if we go underneath and have a look at the commands here, we can see that there is a few commands to make this all work, and we're going to be making the exact same of this on number 2 and number 3 to make it all work and have separate timers for all 3 puzzles, all 3 mazes. I don't know. If we have a look at this line here, this is the counter. This is the exact command blocks that make the timer count. So behind here is where the button is, and if we have a quick look, this TPs you straight into the maze. This one here, this one sets a redstone block underneath this block, which then activates this repeat command. Now it's unconditional, but it needs redstone. So as long as there's a redstone block right here, this will continue to activate, adding 1, as you can see there, to the millisecond maze count. Next we have a scoreboard player that tests the millisecond in the maze dummy when it is in the range between 20 and 20, so not below, not over. If it's exactly 20, then the next command will activate because it's conditional, and it will reset or set the millisecond maze counter back to 0. And it's also conditional, and this one's also conditional. They're all conditional, and this one would then add once the command behind it is activated when it reaches between 20 and 20. Hey, I leveled up. Doesn't go over an hour currently. I didn't think it would take anyone an hour, but that's quite impressive. I think I'll leave it as an hour because an hour is very long. I don't think everyone's going to take more than an hour. The average time seems to be 10 to 20 minutes in maze 1, and these ones here, these ones basically reset the timer. We've got the first command block that basically sets the scoreboard to display, and then one here that basically resets the bank scoreboard back to its original state. This resets the scoreboard after 200 ticks, which is 10 seconds. And then these last 3 basically set the milliseconds, the seconds, and the minutes back to 0. So then when someone else goes in, it starts again from 0. Now over here, this is the end of the maze from before. We basically have... Now I'm not going to go too deep into these ones because they're not that important. But basically what we have here, at the very top, we have a congratulations, you beat the level. And then we have a play sound. And then we have give the player 9 diamonds for winning, because that's the prize. And then we have TP, and at the very end we have set the block where the redstone block is set to air. So it has to be specific coordinates, so it then resets this one back to air, stopping it. So once you enter, this one here starts it. Once you stop and you come out, that one over there sets this back to air and stops the timer. Okay, so we are going to be doing that with number 2 and number 3. Okay, so we're going to get our command block, and if you don't know how to do it, I'm going to show you how. You type in the chat bar / give at self command, and as you can see there, it comes up on the left hand side. Depending on what you are on, if you're on console or not, it might get hidden, you might not see it, but it is there, and you can select through by pressing left and right on your D-pad or on your... Oh no, you can't actually do it on the keyboard. You can do it on the D-pad in the console edition. I'm currently on laptop, but I'm using a controller, so yeah. So yeah, give it self command _block, press enter, and I already have one in my inventory, now I have 2, but hey ho, there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in the exact same position as we have there. I will have to turn this one around though, so what I'll do, take this, take the TP, press Ctrl A, that's Ctrl All, just in case anyone doesn't know, and that selects the entire thing. Make sure that your cursor's on there, and then Ctrl C, and that'll copy it there. So now I can get rid of this, and then I can build my command line as I did before. I should be able to go back into here, and then click on there, Ctrl V, and there we go. So that's back to normal. So that one is basically, you set that to the teleport coordinates of the inside of the maze. Okay, and that's an impulse unconditional needs redstone, because that is connected to the button on the other side. The next command block, which comes from out of that, is the set block underneath. So if we click inside, and then we type / set block ~1 redstone _block, and then you want to change this to a chain unconditional always active. Okay, so as long as that button's pressed, that will set a redstone block. So no matter what, if that button's pressed, whoever's there gets teleported, and then that redstone block goes there. Regardless, it's unconditional, there's no condition to it. It will activate no matter what. Now, before we go on to do this, one important thing that you must do, and that is in your chat bar, you need to type / scoreboard, objectives, add, and then we want to type, what I'm going to type, you can do whatever you like. I'm going to type maze 2, and then dummy, and enter. The second thing you want to do is you want to add the fake players, milliseconds, seconds, and minutes. And how you do that is in your chat bar again, you want to put / scoreboard players, / scoreboard players to add, and then you want to type the name of the fake player. So this will be milliseconds, so capital M I'm going to do, and then mil, and then capital S E C, millisec. And then you want to put maze 2, like so, and then 0. Press enter. And as you can see there, it said add 0 to maze 2 for millisec, now 0. Now, go in your chat bar again, press up, enter, and then take your cursor back, take away milliseconds, and then type in seconds. Seconds, and then press enter again because it's all the same, and then press enter, and then as you can see there, it says add 0 to maze 2 for seconds, now 0, and once more for minutes. Just go in, take away seconds, and then minutes, and then press enter, and that's all you need to do for that. And then finally we can fill in these commands. Now, for the first one, we want to make sure that it's the exact same as this one, but we change it to maze 2. In the first command, we want to change this to a repeat unconditional needs redstone, which is already on. So it'll be / scoreboard players add millisecond maze 2 1. So that's a repeat unconditional needs redstone, and that is ready to go. As you can see, it changes colour. In the next one, we want to change this to a chain conditional always active. And in the command, you want to type / scoreboard players test millisecond maze 2 2020. Okay, so now we're testing for the millisecond scoreboard to be in between 20 and 20. No more, no less. You might as well change these all to the same actually whilst we're at it. So just change them all to chain and conditional always active. There we go. So now in the first one, we've got one adding. For the second one, we've got one testing. For the third one, we need to reset it once it reaches its limit. And what we want to type is / scoreboard players set millisec maze 2 0. So basically, in the chain of things, what's happening is, in the first one that's on a repeat, it's constantly adding 1 every tick. Every tick it adds 1. So every 20 ticks, that's 1 second. And we're testing for that in the second command, and in the third command it resets it back to 0 so then it can start again. And once that's happened, what we need is for a second to go up, so that's what we'll do. We now repeat the first 3 commands that we just had, but with seconds. So that would be / scoreboard players add seconds maze 2 1. Okay, so that will add 1 every time that this block resets the first block back to 0. First block goes up, when it reaches 20 it activates this, and then that reads that, resets it to 0, and then because that's happened, this block will go off and then add 1 to seconds, and now we have to repeat the exact same for seconds a minute. So I'm gonna breeze through. You should be able to do that all by yourself. Please note, when you do the test for seconds, it's got to be 60-60. There's 60 seconds to a minute, so you've got to wait until it reaches 60, and then reset it, then add the minute, okay? Scoreboard players set seconds maze 2 0. Now remember, it doesn't have to be maze 2, it could just be maze. If you only have 1, if you have multiple, then add maze 2, maze 3, whatever. But the commands are basically the same. Next one, / scoreboard players add minutes maze 2 1. And now that basically adds 1 to the minutes because this last one is reset. This one is now adding to the minutes, and we just need to reach 60. So it's the same as the seconds one. When we test, it was 60-60. This one's the exact same as well. So it'll be / scoreboard players test minutes maze 2 60-60. And then finally, in this one, / scoreboard players set minutes maze 2 0. Okay, so that is the key commands to make sure that the timer is set. As soon as that button's pressed to get into maze 2, that's what happens. Okay. Now in here is the end of maze 2, so this is what completes the end of maze 2. I may need to move it just a touch and get rid of these blocks here, because obviously we're going to have to put in maze 3's entrance commands roughly there. There's a block between, so we need a block there, and then these blocks need to go here, and so it'll be going here somewhere. So I'm going to need to move these indefinitely. I'm pretty sure of it. Okay, so I've rearranged everything now, so we can get a third one in when it's time to do so. What we need to do now is basically, what happens is when you complete the maze, on the second floor where the second maze is, there is a command block where the button is to get you out. We'll set a redstone block right here. This one automatically replaces it, and then we have a series of commands that basically plays the random sound. It gives the player 9 in the bank, and then it actually teleports the player to outside the front where the button is. So then what we need to do is at the very end of this command, one last command, just to add to it, we need to do a set air block for the second floor timer. So we need to get right here, stand underneath, and look at this block here. Right under here, these two here is where we need to set the air block. So I've already taken note of the coordinates. So at the very end here, we're just going to type in a set block, which goes like this: / set block, and then the coordinates. So that in my case it will be 14,685.67 minus 19,005, and then space air. And that's all you have to do there. Make sure that you change it to a chain conditional always active. So it's conditional. Once it teleports the player, it will activate this. What we also need to do is copy these commands in here over this side. So let's do that right now. Once you've put in these commands, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all pointing downwards. 5 command blocks all pointing downwards from the area outside that makes sure that the top one is going to be where you want to put a button to power it. So now you want to do is scoreboard objectives set display sidebar maze 2. So make sure that you copy that and make sure that if you're using maze or maze 2 that you write the correct dummy name. So it could be maze in your case. It could be you can use this timer for literally any run of stuff where there's a beginning and an end. You can use this timer. So you could put anything you want. Okay, but in this case we're using maze 2 because I've already done the first one. So make sure that you take that into account when making your timer. Okay, so you want impulse unconditional needs redstone scoreboard objective set display sidebar maze 2. Okay, and then the second one down, if you want to remove the scoreboard if you want to remove the scoreboard once it's been displayed, you want a chain conditional always active, and now I've changed the display in ticks delay. I've changed the delay in ticks to 200, so that's 10 seconds. What I've done, because I've got a bank system that's already in place, I've done scoreboard objective set display sidebar bank display. So the bank display is then redisplayed because that is always on display. So you have 1 to display it, 1 to get rid. And then what you want to do is you want to scoreboard players set millisecond maze 2 to 0, seconds to 0, as you can see there, and then minutes to 0. Okay, so they're all the exact same commands, so make sure you get that correct. Scoreboard players set, and then it'll be milliseconds, seconds, and minutes to 0. And that's that. That is ready for number 2. So if we quickly go run outside, now what we want to do is grab a button from here and just test to make sure it is there. It's definitely there, so we place this block there and put our button on. This is where it's going to be. Let's do level 2 real quick, just so we can see it all happen in action. I've not done level 2 yet, so let's see what happens. I may speed through this until I get to the very end, so bear with me. Woo! So there we go, guys. I've made it to the end of the maze. Let's click the button. Pops outside. Congratulations, you have won level 2 and 9 diamonds. Now, if we click this button, we should see our time is still going up because I haven't done the timer correctly. So let's go and have a look at that. What could I have done incorrectly? So I'm going to put a block underneath and test this again because I think I need to change one coordinate on here. This is the importance of making sure that your coordinates are 100% correct. So I need to change my 6.7 to 6.8 because I was setting the air block 1 block too low, so the redstone block is still going. And I'm just going to quickly make this a repeat unconditional and then back. And as you can see, it's gone now. And I'm going to basically put this onto chain conditional again. So that'll be ready to go next time. Now, if we go and test, obviously there isn't a complete run, so the time is now going to be inaccurate entirely. So let's have a quick look. It now says 8 milliseconds, 3 seconds, and 1 minute. I don't think that's right. But now, yes, that's right, because I did reset the button when I pressed it the first time, so yeah, it now says 000. And there you go, so its title says Maze 2 and then 000, because it's been reset now. But the timer is there and active. So that is it all working. This is a promptu tutorial, so I do apologise if it's not as structured as properly as my previous videos maybe. If anyone gets any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. Feel free to message me any way possible. Join the Discord, you can ask questions there all day long. And, you know, I will be more than happy to help explain anything that anyone doesn't get about this timer. Okay, so, yeah. That is a millisecond, second, minute timer, which you can obviously extend to hours, days, weeks, months, years. you could put a full-on timer, which I may consider. I may consider making one of these for my new realm, which is going to be Ironclad Season 2 once the Never update drops, and so then I may always have a record of how long the realm has been running for, to the days, the minutes, the seconds, the weeks, and the months. So I may do that in a new video, and then that will re-explain all of this once again. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you get notified when I upload next, and definitely join the Discord. Keep an eye peeled for future updates on the realms, Season 1, Season 2, and the Anarchy realm, because there are going to be things happening around all that very soon, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that. Until next time, guys, bye bye. Oh, I broke the sand!